Ladies, stop ignoring this major red flag when you're dating. We're going to talk about it, but before we talk about this,
We're
husband.
Terrence and Jill of God-ordained union, and we're here to do one thing and one thing only, and that is to help increase God-ordained union.
Yes, yes, yes. We are pro marriage, but just not marriage to anybody. Marriage to the person,
Yes.
your unique person. And yes, we firmly believe that God has a unique person for each of us. If He can have a unique baby for us, why can't He have a unique person who makes the baby?
Absolutely. Every hair of your head is numbered.
Yes, yes, yes. He's very intentional about life
details.
and the details. So if you are single and you are longing to be married, you've been praying for marriage, desiring marriage, waiting on marriage, and you're wondering what's wrong, this is a channel that you want to subscribe to, because on this channel, that was our story. We tell our story often of how we were in the waiting room for a very long time. I was 48 when I came across Terrence's profile on a dating site, and 50 when we met, and 52 when we got married.
I was 54 when we got married, and I had been single for 16 years.
Wow, that was a long time. And so I had never had any children, no biological children. I had never been married. And so, yes, it felt like a very, very long time. So you are in good company. We're your biggest cheerleaders. We like, go get your person. Let your person find you, because we know what it is to not settle just to be married. Because once you get into just any old marriage, it becomes dead and fruitless and purposeless. And so yes, please subscribe to this channel. All right, so we go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We drop videos, pre-recorded videos like this one every Sunday and every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're live chatting now. This is not a live video, but we're live chatting. Hey, y'all. Also, we have a private group that meets every first and third Tuesdays from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we also do one-on-ones. So if you need a one-on-one, if you want to talk to us, you got a situationship or a relationship, or you're not attracting nobody. You don't know what's going on. We do one-on-ones. We are not relationship experts. We just not. We definitely don't give no marital advice. So if you're a couple, we ain't the people for you to come talk to. But I like to think that we've mastered being single. I like to think that. So yes, we do have one-on-ones. Those are available. We also have a prayer call that you can come and join us in prayer every Friday night at 11:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to learn all about the prayer call, the one-on-ones, the
Now we got an ebook.
Yes, the ebook. We got an ebook for the ladies, those who feel like you blocked up. We highly recommend that you get the ebook to learn more about the ebook, the one-on-ones, the prayer call, the private group, all of that. You can go to our website, www.godordainedunion.com. Also, if you are interested in getting to know us behind this platform, you can go to our Instagram channel or Instagram page, A God-ordained Union. And that's where you'll see the behind the scenes of us living life. Yes, we do go out. We do go out. Somebody said, I'll never see y'all outside. That's because you always seeing us here. We're always here. So we do go out, even though we're homebodies, but we do go out. So follow us on IG. That's where you'll see our lifestyle, if you're interested. Because we could be a little bit boring.
You think?
No, we're not. All right. So this is a issue that is rearing its head. It's so common. We've all fell into it. At one time in my life, I did too. But it's a red flag. And if we don't catch it early in the dating getting to know stage of a person, of a guy, this is for you ladies. If we don't catch this, we can fall real deep and end up getting hurt. So this red flag, there is, there is, you got to get out quick.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get out quick. So, and my husband's going to talk all about it because he's a guy and he has experience in this area because he was a red flag waver. So, or a giver. Like he was, look, he even got on a red shirt today.
I like that.
Yes. All right. So, husband, what is that red flag that these ladies need to be aware of as soon as possible?
You need to be aware of as soon as possible that he's still emotionally attached to a past relationship.
And you know what the sad part about that? I know y'all gonna get on me because I'm cutting them off. The sad part of that is that you really can't determine it by time.
No.
You can't say, well, he's been out of this relationship for 5 years. No, you can't determine it by time.
But what I am going to do is give you some things to look for that can possibly show you that situation so you can get out as quick as possible. How is that?
Yes.
We're going to give you as much as we can to acknowledge this, okay? So the first one is going to be he hasn't taken ownership of the breakup.
Wow.
He hasn't taken ownership of the breakup. And that can rear his head in a couple ways, okay? One, he's probably going to be defensive, and that's one. He's going to be defensive, but he's also is going to be accusing the ex as being the fault for everything. So he's still got issues with it. Why? Because he's still bringing it up in a negative context. Like, she this, she that. You know, she always did this. And it's going to get to a point you're probably going to be tired of hearing it. But that's a red flag to say, he is not detached from that situation. I need to go. You need to go as quick as possible. Get yourself out of that situation.
Check, please.
Number 2 is he's still talking about his ex often. And I mean, he could be saying good or bad stuff about her, but he's talking about her often. This is a new relationship with you, but yet still he's talking about somebody else all the time, another woman all the time. You need to get out of that situation as quick as possible. Okay. Now, here's kind of like number 2 on steroids. But number 3 is he's comparing you to her, to his ex. And that again, he can be comparing negative things or positive things, but he's doing a lot of comparing.
You spend money just like my ex. You spend too much money. That was the problem with my ex. You know, she ain't know how to save money. She ain't know how to, you know.
Yeah. And heaven forbid, he's not putting you down when he's doing his comparisons.
Wow.
But if that happens, when you hear it for the first time, not second, third, fourth, fifth, but for the first time, you need to jet.
Check.
You need to jet.
Check, please.
Now, this one right here.
This number 4?
Number 4 is going to really touch some of you, okay? And wait till you hear it first. Number 4 is he's seeking comfort or some type of distraction from you, but he's not seeking a connection from you. What does that look like? That looks like he's getting involved physically with you, but he's not emotionally connected to you.
Emotionally unavailable with you.
So what's happening is you're getting emotionally invested and he's not. And you're starting to get wrapped up in this person and he's still going through the motions like he's there, but he ain't there mentally. He ain't there. He just, his body's there, but his mind, his spirit, everything else is somewhere else.
And he's being comforted.
Mm-hmm. He's a shell of himself.
Temporarily, you taking care of his needs.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, you might feel like he's invested, but he's not. He isn't doing anything to advance the relationship. He's not doing anything to comfort you. He's not doing anything to show you that he sees a future with you. But as long as you stay there and allow him to be comforted by you, he will be.
Wow.
He's not going to argue with you, even if you was to say, you're emotionally,
what is wrong with you? Why don't you talk to me?
He's not going to defend it. He's not going to fight back. He's just going to be like, all right, maybe we'll have to just go our separate ways, because he's not attached. He's not committed. He's not invested. So you got to catch this one. And this one right here is dangerous. And I'm going to tell you why. Because men are physical creatures. Okay? Mm-hmm. You could be sitting next to each other on the couch, just watching TV. Okay? And start to touch each other. And because he's a man, we like touch. So it may feel like he's turned on by you. He's aroused by you. You think that he's into you. But the truth of the matter is, you're getting him aroused because you're touching him, not because he's emotionally.
We got to slow it down, though. Let's keep it PG, because we got a lot of church folk on here. But that's the truth of the matter, is that there are a lot of falling into temptation.
I'm just saying, so you got to catch this before you get invested, so you won't be a victim of what's going on, because he's not going to be invested at all. Okay. So that, like I said, that's a scary one right there. Number five is, he's simply going to just tell you up front, he's not ready for a relationship. Why is that one important? Why is that on this list? Because I want y'all to understand, when he tells you this, don't try to convince him otherwise. Don't try to think that you can be the woman that saves a brother. Don't do it, because all you're doing is setting yourself up. You're setting yourself up. Trust him at what he says. He's not ready. He is not ready. That's when it's going to take some strength. It's going to take some, you know who you are, you know your worth, you know your quality, what you bring to the table, but you're going to have to back away from this one. Oh, you're not ready? Well, you know what? I appreciate you being up front. Deuces. Mm-hmm. It's going to have to be that clear, okay? Now, here's what we're finna get into. Number 6 is this. He still has ties to his ex. Those ties can be, they got children together. It's soon after their breakup, so there's a lack of boundaries. Okay? There could be still some issues with financial ties. It can still be him defending her. And if the conversation come up, it can be him defending her. It could be
they still could have a quote unquote friendship. Because there's a lot of a lot of people who have children together say, well, he's just my, or the guy may say, well, that's my son's mother. Like, I'm going to always have a connection with her. I'm going to always have, and a lot of times they use the children as Well,
and I'm going to share a story about me, because I don't do that often. So I'm going to share a story about me. Okay. When I first got divorced, it probably took 2, maybe 3 years after the divorce was final, I started dating a woman. Now, by that time, my twins was about 12 years old. This woman had a daughter who was 2 years older than the twins, so her daughter was about 14. Anyway, she knew that I had been married. One weekend, I had my kids. I was going to take them back home. It was like on Sundays. I was going to take them back home to their mom. And I brought her and her daughter with me so I can prove to her that there's nothing going on. So I'm thinking, do the right thing, be the man, take her with you. And that's what I did. But here's what y'all don't know. Throughout that weekend, there have been some things said that my kids were saying that made her feel like she wasn't welcome as my girlfriend, or she wasn't wanted. And what happened was, basically, once I got them home, dropped them off. So the ride down there was kind of quiet. Everybody was kind of looking out the window, whatever, listening to music. Nobody saying a bunch of nothing. Got them home, said goodbye, got back in the car. We're headed back. My son calls me. Now remember, they're 12 years old. My son calls me. I have him on speaker because I'm driving. And he's telling me, Daddy, I'm sorry if we treated her mean and this and that. He said, but, I don't want anybody replacing my mother. And I said, well, son, that's a great thing. I'm glad you told me that. I don't want her to replace your mother. She can't replace your mother. Your mother's going to always be your mother. And he said, well, then what kind of relationship will we have if she won't be my mom? I said, y'all can be friends. And so he was like, oh. Now again, I'm having this conversation with a 12-year-old. He said, oh, well, I can do that. I said, see, that's what's up. You the man. I said, but look, you're back home now. Enjoy your mom and everybody. Tell everybody I said hello, and I'll talk to y'all later. He's like, cool, hung up. As soon as we hang up, boom, she goes in. You got your kids making decisions for you. You can't do this. You ain't did it. You letting them govern your life. They're just going in. And I'm like, whoa. Because I'm thinking he just said something that should have set her at ease. She should be like, oh, cool. He ain't did it. Whatever. No, she went in. She was livid. She was going off. Her daughter's in the back. We're driving back up the road now. I'm arguing with a 14-year-old. And a grown woman, because now the daughter's like, well, what if that was my daddy? And you wouldn't have a problem with my mom and my dad going out to eat? And I was like, no. And so now we're having this conversation. But I say that to say, one, I didn't realize I was defending my ex and our relationship of the past as if we got it right now.
Right.
Now, she had a legitimate point. Whether it was right, wrong, indifferent, I didn't even see her perspective. Didn't care for her perspective. Didn't realize that I wasn't even acknowledging her perspective to the point of saying it might be some legitimacy to this. I was just defending. So I'm sharing this with you to say that's what it may look like when there's still ties to the past. That's just one example. I could probably give you one for every person I dated, for so many years after my marriage, because every time I was at a different level or a different stage of understanding, a different level of maturity, a different level of healing. So when you have someone that's quick to defend
the relationship.
Yeah, that's quick to deflect. That's quick to get upset about anything that's said about the past. You need to know he ain't healed yet. He ain't finished yet. There's still some ties there somehow, some shape or form or fashion. And you need to be on alert to say, I need to get out of this because it ain't going to get no better no time soon.
I heard a situation where, and it's been in the last year, somebody had told a situation where she was dating this guy, and the guy and the guy's son were going on a trip. And they parked the car. He parked his car. The guy parked his car at the son's mother's house, his ex, at the son's mother's house. And the son's mother took them to the airport. So when they came back from the trip, the guy called the chick that was telling us the story. He called her and told her, he had just gotten back from his trip. And so she asked, oh, okay, well, he said, I just picked up my car from my ex. And she was like, huh? You picked up and so he went on to explain that it was because the ex had took him and his son to the airport. And she was feeling some type of way because now it made her think, well, did the ex go with them on the trip? Mm. It made her feel like, well, and so they were like disagreeing, and he was saying that regardless, that's my son's mother, and that was my ex, and she felt like there should have been some boundaries, like if you don't have, and it doesn't have to be, and I think that's the thing, it doesn't have to be a unhealthy break off, but I think that there should be some boundaries, like especially if you are really into. Needless to say, she felt so uncomfortable with it because I was like, well, really hear him out, like really give it a, really hear him out. But she felt some type of way because at this point she said she felt like she couldn't trust him. So, needless to say, she broke it off with him.
Look, let me tell you something. I didn't even know boundaries were. Still didn't know until after I got married. We were married when the word boundaries came up. So, ladies, when I'm telling you that the guy might not even realize that he don't have any boundaries set up, that there's a need for boundaries, that he need to also enforce those boundaries. Make sure it's a clear line in the cement so everybody knows where the boundaries are so there is no confusion.
Right.
I had none of that. That didn't get established until after we got married and had conversations about why there wasn't boundaries for me to understand that there was an actual need for them.
Yeah. The thing that worked in our favor is that the kids are grown.
Yes.
Yeah, those are the things that worked in our favor.
Yes.
But the friendship with them is so healthy. Well, I ain't going to say healthy, but it was cordial. I'll say that. Because she got my number too. So, but it was so cordial that she can call us whenever she wants, but we can't call her. We can't cross her, we're going to respect her relationship, but she could call. And so that's where we were like, okay, well, wait a minute now. It's got to be some boundaries set, some boundaries, like, wait a minute. And so, yeah.
Well, I wouldn't have called her anyway.
Right. That's what he said. I'm not calling her anyway.
That was the whole point of getting my kids cell phones when they were kids. So I wouldn't have to go through her to speak to them. But yeah, you just have to know that even a person that thinks he's doing the right thing, thinks that he's healed, thinks that he's healthy, thinks that all these things were put in place. Some of it he may not even have thought of because in my case, I had never been in that situation. I didn't even know that was a thing.
And it's not all, because I don't want people to think that it's everybody who has a child's father or baby, a child's mother, your child's mother, that it's emotional, still an emotional attachment. Right. That's not what we're saying at all.
No, but you need to be aware.
Yeah, you got to know that relationship.
For that person to move forward,
you got to understand what that dynamic is.
Yeah, you got to really understand what that dynamic is. So you really got to, and we've used this word before. And although this isn't what the video is about, I'm going to say this. This is where, if it's meant for you to be with that person, God will give you some grace in that area. Because when you talk about, you still got to deal with somebody who has children. Because a lot of people, that's why a lot of women say, I don't want to be with anybody with children. You really got to be graced in that area because it is, it's especially like in my situation where I didn't have any kids. And so to come in and see, that there's still, the great thing that I love is that they
his ex-wife, like when we were having our grandchild, like his ex-wife called me, was like, come to the hospital. She about to have a baby. Like, and so it was like, she going to labor. We're going to meet y'all. She's included me. And so even though I met our kids when I was in their adult years, I literally saw our grandkids be born. And so it's like I have a stake in that. And his ex includes me in that. She makes it known that, I'm the Gigi, and so she includes, so that's a beautiful thing. And that's and so when it's like, even if and that's another thing, you can even look at the animosity. If there's animosity with the ex, that might say there's still some emotional attachment.
Yeah.
So.
And then I want to cover this last thing too for this video, and that is social isolation. Before I even started dating, look, I think it's an understatement for me to say I was a shell of myself. I think I was below a shell of myself. I couldn't see my kids when I wanted to. I mean, I was living by myself in a whole nother city, a whole nother area. But for years, I was like a hermit. I went to work. I worked. And when I didn't work, I was at home. Wow. Work, back at home. Work, back at home. It got to a point where my brothers, my cousins, they came, banging on the door. I go to the door. They get your blah, 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 calling me out. Get it. Come on. Get in the car. Where we going? We're taking you out. They knew that I wasn't myself, and they got me and said, we're taking you out. We're going to have some fun. No, they told me, you're going to have some fun. It's like, it wasn't even about them anymore. It's like, you're going to have some fun. We're going to make sure you have some fun. And they took me out. And so, yeah. Social isolation is, I was a hermit. I was in.
Yeah, you talking to somebody and he don't do nothing. He don't go nowhere. He don't got no extracurricular activities. He ain't into really. Well, you said you went to work and that was it.
I went to
Only
work.
Thing that they do is punch in those 40 hours a week and come home, or however many hours a week.
I was working like a mug. I was working double shifts. I even got a second job. So on days that, I normally would be off or work a certain day of the week, I went to my part-time gig. So
to keep yourself
just keep myself busy. Because if I sat idle, I'm missing my kids. Or, yeah.
Yeah. So So
because I was very, very, very popular. I was an athlete. I just came home from the military. I mean, I did a lot of stuff that I had achieved by myself. So everybody knew me. And now I'm visualizing myself as a loser because my marriage didn't work. And now I don't have an identity because my identity went from the military to attached to my family. And now I don't have it. So I was distraught. I was tore up.
Wow.
I was tore up. So I didn't go anywhere. Wow. I didn't know how to face people. I didn't know how to talk to people.
Wow.
What am I talk to them about? Because I'm thinking in the back of their mind, they're thinking he's a loser. He ain't married no more. Look, he ain't even got his kids with him, because all they used to see me when I was married, I had my kids with me everywhere I was if I wasn't married.
Wow.
I was done.
Wow. Yeah. And it's still women that will, and you would go through the motions talking to them and you was not interested.
Yeah. People trying to give hints. I ain't even catching the hints because my mind is focused on something else. Wow. What you say? Huh?
Wow. What they say, women can be in a relationship, get a breakup, and the next relationship, they can truly be invested in it. But men, they get in a relationship, break up, and then they what?
It's going to be a while. It might be a year or more before he gets over that relationship and heal completely before he's prepared to actually be in a positive relationship.
And in between that, he probably going to break a few hearts.
He's going to break, yeah.
Wow.
Especially if he's a guy that is usually put together.
Wow.
Because a woman will see him, and even when he's not trying, they're not going to run away from him. They go, hey, how you doing? He's going to talk, but he just isn't there emotionally to give you something that's worth investing in at that point.
Yeah, and this is where the advice for the ladies come. I don't like to say advice, but you can't fix them. You can't change their mind. And I heard somebody say years ago, it was a preacher said this: never come in between a man and his misery, because when you come in between a man and his misery, you are placing yourself as God in their life. And he has to come to know God in his misery, because that's where he's going to begin to trust God to get him out of it. So if you're in the way, you're blocking his relationship with the Lord that the Lord needs to work in him. And so, yeah, the best thing you can do in this situation is release him. Release him. I got to get out the way. Release him, because you will become collateral damage.
And the longer you let it go, the harder it's going to be for you to release him. And then that gets bad for you.
Yes. Release him. And there's a difference between a man who takes it slow and a man who is still emotionally attached to his past relationship. And you need discernment to know the difference. And so don't ignore the red flags. So there's many more than this. These are the blatant ones.
Yeah,
These are the ones that you should see.
These are the ones that are so blatant that as soon as they pop up, you should run.
You should run.
This shouldn't be where you say, I'm going to have a conversation myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to think about
I'm
this
still
tonight,
be his friend.
And I reach back out to you in the morning. No, you need to go.
Yeah.
Delete the number.
As much as I like you, dude, I can't, because I'm going to be in the middle, in the way of your healing. Like, you're a great guy. And there's so much that God has for you, but I ain't it. I ain't it. Don't even say right now, and I ain't it. No, I ain't it. And if you happen to see him down the road, that's a different story.
No, if it was meant to be, he'll come back to you later.
He'll come.
Say,
hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yes.
But I got one question for you. Are you available now?
Yes.
Because
right.
I'm back.
Right. I'm healed and I'm back. But yeah, don't hold on to it. Release it. Let it go. Let it go. And so.
Yeah. So with that being said, we pray, as always, that this leads you back to the Lord and what the Word of God says about your individual situation.
Yes.
And with that said, we look forward to seeing you guys in our next video.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.